The old king Brachus watches the horizon.
The air out here's a damn sight better than in Fort Joy, eh?
Are you certain you want to do his eyebrows shoot up?
Can't say I'm not sorry to see. Good luck out there.
Are you ready for me to join? Off we go, then. Yes. Is it an audience you desire? Nothing's changed but for our surroundings. We're still on an island, in dire need of making for the mainland. Perhaps we simply ought to hug the coast in search of a ship. Of course, I'd much appreciate it if we managed to find Bahara first. Oh, don't tell me you've never heard the stories. The tale of my birth has been a bedtime staple for years. A dinner party favorite. Cute. Very well then, listen closely. One day a red sun rose, turning the desert sands into a blood-colored sea. When my mother, roused from dreams, beheld this crimson dawn, she knew the time had come and promptly gave birth to me. The sun rose to its zenith, but there settled, refused to descend towards the beckoning dusk. Instead, she hung there for 7 days and 7 bright, starless nights. So enamored was she with her little red prince. Indeed, I've been a married man since the day I was born, for they call me the spouse of the sun. She who is all life and beauty, she whose colour I wear not in cloth, but in skin.
He laughs wryly, baring rows of shark-like teeth.
There are those who believe that little legend, you know. I'm not one of them. To tell you the truth, I've no idea why I'm red, but I do fancy I was rather lucky to be born a prince. My heritage made people celebrate my uniqueness. Had I been common-born, they might have just drowned me in a well. Demonic, indeed. Didn't take long for that particular cat to come out of the bag now, did it? Meagre brains think meagre thoughts. They sully the air like offal. I prefer to keep my distance. Quite right. Do seek my counsel. I highly recommend it. More glorious than you could ever imagine. More glorious than I wish to recall here. Ask me again once we escape, and I'll tell you tales that will last us 1,000 nights.
Out of the frying pan and into...
This is ruined. The Red Prince interrupts as you're about to speak.
This woman is a dreamer. I can see the answers spinning in her eyes. Do rest your legs for a bit while I question her. You're too kind.
Red Prince and the Dreamer exchange courteous pleasantries, as if they're finding themselves in a palace hall instead of a death-ridden swamp. She introduces herself as Bahara. To your surprise, they next lie down on the ground in a seemingly warm embrace and fall asleep. What follows, though, is far from peaceful. They claw and thrash as if struggling for dear life, caught in the hold of some hideous nightmare. Then they wake, haggard, exhausted. They speak of a vision, Brahmos, and another red lizard.
Praise the daylight. I am now. There was death in that dream, chasing me like 100 hungry lions. But at least I've new directions. When we escape and find ourselves on the mainland once more, I must search for Bramos the Wanderer. Then I will finally know the truth. The very secret of my soul.
May you always walk in wisdom.
Yes. Is it an audience you desire?
The Red Prince takes on a reserved air, and you've the feeling he'd blush if such a thing could be noticed.
Secret of my soul, I said. What poppycock. Doesn't sound like me at all, not in the slightest. So drop it. Yes.
Are you certain you want to...
Your loss.
Hey there, old buddy, old acquaintance. Want a tea? Well, that was easier than I thought. I'd say we should stop to talk, but I'm swamped. Don't make much of it one way or the other, but the farther we get away from the joy, the better. There's got to be a way off this island. Sure thing, Chief. What's up? You know, wherever the next road leads, I guess. I never was one to sit in one place too long. How about you? You missing home by now? I get you. So, what is it you miss exactly? You can do it! Come on! I guess that's tough. Maybe you'll find him again, after all this is over. Sure thing, Chief. What's up?
She bats her eyelashes coquettishly over black eyes in grey sockets.
Just for you, Chief. Sure thing, Chief. What's up? I'd say we should stop to talk, but I'm swamped.
Are you certain you want to...
Oh, really now? Oh, I don't feel so good.
Again, can't you see I'm rather busy?
He lifts the corpse's eyelids, peering underneath.
It could be worse, I suppose. You seem more... Very well. Let's be off. I must say, I was hoping to enjoy a smug advantage over everyone else. Lacking skin may make me a target for mortals, but I am mercifully immune to mosquitoes. However, they are infuriating when they get in one's skull. I can barely hear myself think. Given enough time, I could walk from this island to the shore. But time is in short supply. I must procure a quick way off this island, and that means procuring a ship. Perhaps these seekers would know more. I imagine they are quite keen to leave, too. I fell victim to the enemy of all great minds. Fear. Fear of the unknown. Fear of change. These are the things that poison civilizations. I was on the cusp of a glorious breakthrough, but my king's fear held me back. I discovered a veil hanging across the universe. A barrier of pure source. It was amazing. The kind of discovery on which a civilization turns. Who knows what secrets may have been hidden behind that curtain? but my king forbade me from further investigation. Do you know, I never thought to ask. Between him purging me and casting me into a traitor's tomb. What a foolish oversight! If only I'd had your prescience and curiosity, I could have saved myself centuries of pondering that very question. Well, certainly he was not pleased with my insistence that we investigate. But the king's word is law, was law. But the reason I was purged was slightly less intellectual. After the king refused to let me investigate the Veil, I brought the issue up with others, the Seven Lords. Beneath the king in authority, but far above me. I brought them my research. I showed them everything. I had hoped they would help me convince the king of his error, but before they or I could act, I was arrested and, well, my sentence was carried out. I mean, yes, I suppose you could have drained the power from it, but that would have weakened it significantly. It would be quite irresponsible. After all, the power of the thing is not the point. It hid something. Who knows what that might have been? The secrets to the universe could have lain behind that curtain. But I was not given the chance to find out. Now, I fear I never will. He ceased to be my king the moment he turned on me. I did nothing wrong. All I wanted was to further the knowledge of the Eternals. Who knows? Had I been allowed to continue my studies, perhaps I could have warded off whatever catastrophe befell them.
The skeleton stands quietly for a moment.
I'm not sure. Centuries in a tomb can warp one's memory. I remember the big things, of course. My library, my home, my king, my family. But the rest, it's all covered in a fog. And the more I see of this world, the thicker that fog seems to get. Once I would have boasted that it was the best form of government. Indeed, it was the only form of government we knew. Living forever under the rule of a wise king is one thing. But if that king should turn into a despot, if he should reject philosophy and the natural arts for the sake of power, well, I cannot imagine a worse torture. I was a scholar, researching the secrets of the universe. Had I been allowed to proceed, my people could have ascended to godhood as one. An entire race of deities, with a perfect understanding of the universe. It would have solved all of our problems. Indeed, you cannot. Nothing in this world compares to it. We crafted our homes from stone and crystal, using the power of the universe itself to keep them in place. Your people, on the other hand, seem quite content to sit about in smoking hovels, held together by straw and filth. It's a mercy I don't have a nose. I cannot imagine how you stand it. They came rather low in my life, alas. My wife and daughter always had to compete with my work for my attention, and my work was always stiff competition. They were often neglected. I wonder how many more years they spent neglected before... well, before whatever happened, happened. I must say, I was hoping to... lacking skill. However, they are infuriating.
Are you certain you want to...
Yes. Go on then. Play and...
Back so soon? Changed your mind?
He grins.
Right you are. Lead the way.
Gareth would know what to do.
Hey, hey you! Let me see what you've got under there. Go on. Show me your... You're pathetic. Here today, gone tomorrow.
An illusion.
Life's a dream.
This fellow must be quite proud of himself. Ha! Clever.
Hey you! Let me see what you've got under there. Go on. Show me your... tits! Still opening that mouth of yours, are you? Careful with that. I quite like the look of it. How awkward. See, the thing is, just stop. No one... Oh. Why are you still speaking? How awkward. See, you're embarrassing yourself. Quite the vision, aren't I? You should go. Before...
An illusion. This fellow must be quite proud of himself. Ha! Clever.
The air out here's a damn...
Ivan smiled.
Didn't I tell you to leave? Wasn't I clear that you're not welcome here? You can't teach a fool anything.
Poor idiot. Pathetic boy. This isn't some game. In what... That was even easier than I thought. Poor idiot. That was even easier than I thought. Ha! Poor idiot.
Careful! Look out! I've spotted a trap. I see a trap nearby. Careful now, that's a trap. I should neutralize this thing before it does damage.
It's a riddle, isn't it? A conundrum. What's it you'll have to solve? I thought you looked clueless, all right? Thing is, it's about the letters, isn't it? One for each thing. Easy. Well, it takes one to know one, mate. Well, nice to meet you too. Rude thing. What do you want? It's a riddle, isn't it? I thought you looked... Yeah, sure. Hope you don't... Well, it takes one to... Well, nice to...
You see yourself in the mirror. It's quite a sight.
You come to find. You come to search. But you won't find the way. A pity. Brachus has willed it. Trompdoy must abide. You have met the unfortunate guardian of this vault. Judge him with a forgiving heart. Fate has been unkind to him. Do you wish to move forward? Listen closely and make your attempt. Brachus is a bloody, rotten, thieving, very, very awful fellow. Some even call him a cur. A cur is... Either you're very good at guessing, or the slightest bit clever. Let's find out for certain. Listen closely, and make your attempt. Source is a scourge, a devil, a misery, a blight, a hex, a curse. And yet, the cure is... Perhaps you're not totally incapable after all. Or maybe Trompdoy told you the answers, is that it? Is he hoping you'll... It doesn't matter in any case. The path is open. Go freely. I know little, but you have proven yourself a knowing traveller. I will answer what I can. Brachus Rex has charged him, tried him, convicted and punished him. I know not the crime, but he has been sentenced to remain in this vault for all time and to prevent others from entering. Trompdoy was, and is, a creative man. He knew petty magic in his day. But this he has used to carve this place out from a simple vault, myself included. Brachus Rex discovered the way. This he researched here, upon this isle. He could remove the source from any creature or individual. I saw the stars he used myself. They were most impressive.
What do you want? Well, nice to meet...
Reveal yourself.
Now you don't.
As you pick up the ring, you feel a cold, dark pain shoot up your arm. Your mind itches. You don't hear, but feel a whisper in your ear. It tells you to slip the ring onto your finger.
That's plenty.
You made it all this way. I'm sorry.
He trembles and seems to shudder with a quiet sob.
I'm cursed, you know. Bloody Brachus bound me here to protect his vault. He has my soul in that jar just there, and I can't leave without it. As long as the jar stays unbroken, I can never truly die. I don't rightly know. This was the Source King's way. Befriend you, then destroy you. I was a fool to expect I'd be an exception. His favor was intoxicating. That's no excuse, but it is the reason.
The tears flow faster and faster.
I'm sorry.
The jar before you glows with a blue light. Its appearance flickers and changes. It is at once a brightly coloured motley and then a deep grey. You hear roaring laughter and shouts, then the hush of silence. You think you can hear quiet, choking sobs from within. The jar before you, you hear roar. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a beautiful palace court. It's filled with cheers, but you can almost taste the fear in the room. You see a jester prance in the court. He casts illusions, playing to his master's cruelty by picking on the weakest in the room. He lives for the laughter and applause. The scene spins, a new face, a new fool to make his master laugh. Don't worry, he's told, you'll always have your place. The door closes, and you see the illusionist in the dark of this dungeon. He's alone, surrounded by gold and deathly silence. Your hand falls from the jar, your skin prickling and cold after the vision. To die down here would be terrible. To live down here for eternity, you shudder at the thought. The visions fade to black, but the memories remain.
Associating with tyrants validates their actions. He might not have killed anyone, but he enabled their murder. Let him suffer on.
There should be no peace for someone who panders to power. We don't know what other sins he committed, after all.
He should be allowed to rest. Whatever his sins, he's been punished more than enough.
The jar sits still. It seems to have revealed all the secrets it contains. The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or a mere act of vandalism. As you take in its chiseled details, you have a vision. The statue comes to life and embraces you awkwardly with its broken arms. Unable to resist, you're flown away into an endless dark.
That shrine seems to have brought me here. What is this place?
The helmeted figure before you slowly turns to face you. He raises his weapon, a great ethereal sword, and rushes forward, ready to strike you. The figure plants a foot before you and swings his sword in one powerful, direct strike. You counter the blow and send the figure back a few paces. He springs forward again, faster this time, ready to strike a second blow. The figure charges you head on, ready to plunge the sword into your chest. As he charges, he suddenly evaporates into the ether, passing through your body. Deep, dark cold blooms in every particle of your body. The figure materializes behind you and grabs your head with one hand, pressing his sword to your throat with the other. If you so much as breathe too suddenly, it will slice your jugular with ease.
You are my champion? How I wasted my efforts saving you as the ship went down. The time for fealty is gone. The fight to survive is the only remaining battle. The Divine is dead. Voidwoken haunt the night. Do you think I would let my people, our people, suffer so deeply without intervening? I chose you to be my champion. But it seems I've chosen wrong.
He staggers back, holding his nose. The wound on your neck quickly knits together. He smiles.
You may do well after all. Recognize me. You are my champion, and I am your god.
He lifts his visor. Two deep green eyes fix you in their stare. In an instant, you know you are speaking to Ralik, god of all humans.
You have brought yourself. This gives me hope.
I see a spark in you. The beginnings of a fire that may blaze our path back to preeminence in Rivellon. This is why I've chosen you. To lead humankind back toward divinity.
This is why you are my selected. My Godwoken. I have no doubt. The potential within you is tremendous. Let me show you.
A great surge of power arrests your heart, your mind. When it passes, you feel ecstatic, replete.
You may have noticed I've tried to help you on your journey. I blessed the water beneath your feet so that it would aid you. Now, you have the power for yourself. And this is only the beginning. More and greater powers await you, if only you will seek them. Only one like you can wield them. One marked for greatness. One who can either rise to this great task, or let her people fall to ruin. Capability is learned, so too experience. What I need is not the wisdom of experience, but the fire of potential. This I see within you. Above all my many children, I hope I am not wrong. Your purpose will be great, but the first step is simple. Escape the grasp of those who would do you harm. You and you alone must safely leave this place. You and you alone must rise above the reach of minor people.
Ralik visibly bristles at the mention of your
I am not the only of the seven seeking a champion, my child. Your friends may have been similarly summoned by powers that threaten the very existence of our race.
He casts his gaze over the war below, where God fights God in a relentless, bloodless battle.
Times have changed. The gods are at war. The victor will choose the terms of peace. If we fail, if you fail, our race may well be lost. A father knows when he may trust in his children, and when he must intervene. I know that you will succeed, if you choose it. Do not disappoint me.
Sabine is pensively tracing a new name on her arm, gilded letters in an ancient alphabet.
Sure, it's nothing really. My own name. A little gift from Tyrsendilius. Leave it to a god to be overly dramatic. Must be a celestial party game. Or maybe he wanted to teach me a lesson. If the latter, he has much to learn.
Out of the frying pan and into...
The air out here is a damn sight.
If Antips is...
The air out here is a damn... Me too. A god I don't believe in told me things about myself I don't believe. Yeah. Harder to maintain skepticism then, all right. Whatever we believe, we still need to live in the here and now. So, let's get back to work.
If Antips is...
Out of the frying pan and into... Is that so? Look, I don't know where you've been and what you saw. But I believe you believe it. And I guess that's what matters, yeah?
You don't say. I too had the pleasure. Of course, when I say pleasure, I mean the distinct dishonor. What always happens? I'd rather not talk about it. You're very kind, but I suppose you deserve to know. So it is, but I'll acquiesce. Just this once. The thing is, Tirsen Dilius, the Old Father, the Golden Leaf, he wants me to become the next Divine.
Her eyes fix on some unseen thing of darkness.
Beware of gods bearing gifts. Divinity. And yet, he treated me... treated me like a slave. His was an exercise in power. Brutal, like all true power is.
She hesitates, but you can tell she wants to speak.
The thing is, Tirsen Dilius, the Old Father, the Golden Leaf, he... You're very kind, but I suppose you deserve... So it is. Just the thing is, Tirsen Dilius, the...
Her eyes...
Beware of Divin, and yet... he treated me... exactly. His was an exercise in power. Brutal, like all true power is. His was a lesson, meant to discipline, not to edify. Why would I obey such a god? Like I said, beware of gods bearing gifts. But I do appreciate the sentiment. Unless you love the idea of...
Look at that wand. It hums with inner source.
The jar sits still. It seems to have revealed all the secrets it contains. Something inside you strains. You are replete. The jar sits still. It seems to have revealed all the secrets. The jar before you may have looked opulent once, but no longer. Now it's covered in grime, its paint chipped away, and its jewels long stolen. The soul jar rocks slightly, light flashing from underneath its lid. On its rim, you can just barely make out the name Gratiana. As soon as you touch the jar's cracked surface, you see a vision of splendor, silks, fine food, and decadent lechery. But underneath it all lies bone and blood. The vision shifts. You see burning villages, slaughtered women and children. You see her, purging wand in hand, standing amongst it all. She throws her head back and laughter echoes in your skull. A shadow falls across her, and you see a large, weeping face. She reaches out as if to comfort, but Bracchus drags her back. You see her fall into the mire of the swamp, trapped. As you pull your hand away, you can feel a deep, longing sadness in your soul. Is it regret, or just sadness for a life that used to be? The terrible vision fades.
While she lived a selfish life, she seems to have repented. She should be forgiven.
Whatever a person may have done in life, they can all...
However her life began, it ended well. No one should be damned because of their youth.
This jar glitters and glows. From within, you think you can make out the distant sound of laughter. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around roar with laughter. All bar the zombies, who are slavishly serving food and drink. The door opens, and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. You can't make out her words, but see the fear in the dwarf's eyes. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friends into the woman's path, but is grabbed before she can escape. As she's dragged away to a tower, you hear her cursing Bracchus Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside and the door sealed, you can still hear her shouts. You pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming. You can feel the dwarf's cold terror still twisting in your gut. The vision fades.
Ugh, I've rarely seen such cowardice on display.
Keeping the dead as slaves. What a disgusting display! She deserved every punishment she got.
Being locked in a tower was more kindness than any necromancer deserves.
The jar on the plinth before you seems ancient, but is in surprisingly good condition. It's covered in pictograms that you can't understand, but you're sure you just saw one of them move. The pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient empire turning their backs on you, casting you out into the wilderness. As you roam, the human apes turn away from you, all but one. One smiles, one opens his arms, one says he'll take you home. Bracchus Rex. He promises power, for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. He promised you a crown, but all you got was shackles. You try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand and leads you to a tower. He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals the door. This is where you belong. Your hand drops away from the soul jar, your skin prickling. In the back of your mind, you hear a small, scared voice whimper before fading to nothing. The long-dead lizard's visions fade.
This is the price of pride and greed. The villain got what he deserved.
No amount of loneliness excuses wickedness. He helped a monster for selfish reasons.
What he did shames his people.
The soul jar stands on its plinth, glowing softly. From within, you can almost hear the whisper of a voice. You see, or rather, you feel, a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air, pine needles brush your cheeks, and in your arms you can feel a weight. A body, dead. But you have hope. Your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a shambling host, the enemies of Bracchus Rex melting before you. The scene twists again. Now Bracchus stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but cold arms bind you. You're sealed away in a tower. Your screams fill the darkness. You feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault. Your hand falls from the jar and grips the pillar as you try to calm your ragged breathing. The necromancer's memories fade to black, but the feelings remain.
Ugh, the memories of a necromancer. What could be more vile?
Anyone who marches at the head of an undead host deserves whatever punishment they get.
One must wonder how many more lives they took. How much misery the scum...
The ring just got tighter. A lot tighter. Ring. It's loose. Get off me and stay off.
The jar sits still. The source flows out of the jar, across your skin and into your eyes. For a brief moment you glimpse the universe, and then it's gone. You're left panting, filled with incredible power.
been cursed.